Currently, Earth. December 28th, in the year 1869, the Knights of Labor, a labor union of tailors in Philadelphia, hold the first Labor Day ceremonies in American history. The Knights of Labor was established as a secret society of Pennsylvanian tailors earlier in the year, and later grew into a national body that played an important role in the labor movement of the late 19th century. The first annual observance of Labor Day was organized by the American Federation of Labor in 1884, which resolved in a convention in Chicago that the first Monday in September be set aside as a laborers' national holiday. In 1887, Oregon became the first state to designate Labor Day as a holiday, and in 1894, Congress designated the first Monday in September a legal holiday for all federal employees and the residents of the District of Columbia. It was December 28th in the year 1938 that the silent film star Florence Lawrence continued her eternity by apparent suicide in Beverly Hills. She was 52 years old. Though she was best known for her roles in nearly 250 films, Lawrence was also an inventor. She designed the first auto signaling arm, mechanical turn signal, along with the first mechanical brake signal. She did not patent these inventions, however, and as a result, she received no credit for or profit from either one. Born Florence Bridgewood in 1886 in Hamilton, Ontario, Lawrence entered show business when she was very young. Her mother, a vaudeville actress named Lotta Lawrence, brought baby Florence on the road with her, sending her on stage as Baby Flo, the child wonder whistler. Lawrence got her first movie role in 1907, and in 1910, she became the first actress to headline a film by name. Prior to this, she was simply known as the Biograph Girl, for the name of her film studio. Because she was such a successful actress, Lawrence was able to buy her own car, a rarity in the early 20th century, when cars were still luxury items. She adored driving and loved learning all she could about the way automobiles worked. A car to me is something that is almost human, she said. Something that responds to kindness and understanding and care, just as people do. In 1914, she developed a mechanical signaling arm that with the press of a button raised or lowered a flag on the car's rear bumper that told other drivers which way a car was going to turn. After that, Lawrence devised a rudimentary brake signal that worked on the same principle. When a driver pressed the brake, a stop sign flipped up from the back bumper. These inventions were enormously important. Obviously today, every car on the road has electrical turn signals and the brake lights, but because she never bothered to file patents for her work, Lawrence never got the recognition she deserved. Not that it would have made much difference. Her mother, also an inventor, patented the first electrical windshield wipers in 1917 and never got much credit either. After Florence Lawrence was badly burned while rescuing another actor from a studio fire in 1915, she had a hard time finding work. Her first and second husbands had continued their eternity, and she was divorced from her third less than a year after marrying him. Florence also had a rare bone marrow disease that caused her a great deal of pain. It's recorded that in 1938, Florence Lawrence poisoned herself in her Beverly Hills home and continued her eternity. It was December 28th in the year 1973 that our nation's 37th president, Richard M. Nixon, signed the Endangered Species Act into law. The act, which Nixon called for the previous year, is considered one of the most significant and influential environmental laws in American history. The government started taking action to protect endangered species in the early 1900s as it became apparent that hunting, industry, and deforestation were capable of wiping out entire species. The near extinction of the bison, once extremely common in North America, provided ample evidence that such protections were necessary, as did the disappearance of the last passenger pigeon flying into the eternity in 1901. Early acts of Congress focused mostly on animals that were commonly hunted, and although the Department of Interior began publishing a list of endangered species in 1967, it did not have the adequate powers to help animals in need. Recognizing the need for proactive legislation, Nixon asked Congress to expand protections. The result was the 1973 Endangered Species Act. Among other things, it mandated that the federal government keep a list of all species in need of protection, prohibited federal agencies from jeopardizing such species or their habitats, and empowered the government to do more to protect wildlife. Though the act only applied to the actions of the federal government, it was wildly successful. In its first 30 years, the less than 1% of the plants and animals added to the endangered species list went extinct, while more than 100 showed a 90% recovery rate. Over 200,000 acres of crucial habitats have also been protected under the Act. The ESA is widely regarded as the strongest endangered species law in the world and one of the most successful pieces of environmental legislation in history. Historic information, the roles, and documented on the side of the file of the